This is Kent Jacobs, and if the name sounds familiar, it's because it should be. Oh, looks like you went fishing.
Caught in the net. Caught him in the net, right
Can we see that? So this came from the California Gold surfboard auction.
Yeah, this thing's awesome.
Wow, whoa. So this is one your pop made.
Yep. Still from the 60s.
Could we take that inside and look at that one too?
Yeah.
Man, that's a needle. I'll let you bring her in.
Look at it. It's not a single pressure dent on the deck.
That's flawless.
It's like somebody bought it and they were scared to ride it.
Wow. Yeah, bring that thing on in here.
Cypress and Valley and Hermosa Beach. They did all the glassing.
That is intricate.
Yeah, it's really cool.
That is resin work.
It's all resin pin lines.
It is. That's about as thin as you can go without it disappearing.
Yeah, and it lasted all those years.
I think I've said before that when you buy really well-designed surfboards, you're basically paying for time. It's not just the nuts and bolts, but you're paying for the time and the knowledge of any craft, really, which is why a lot of times you'll see legacy brands kind of taken up by the next of kin, father to son. Hap Jacobs is the father of most of South Bay's surfboard design innovation, alongside other notables. Greg Knoll, Bing Copeland,
Rick Stoner.
And the sons a lot of times end up coming up in the shaping bay. This is Kent Jacobs, Hap Jacobs' son.
Yeah.
Hi, Kent.
Hi.
And it's no coincidence that Kent shaped surfboards.
My whole life.
So you got started kind of in the foam in diapers, probably.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah?
I had run of the surf shop in Hermosa Beach on Pacific Coast Highway for, ride my Stingray there and feed the fish, clean up the chafing room, organize things, look at all the boards, bug all the people behind the counter. Yeah, good times. I got to clean up the chafing rooms. Rick Irons, he was the nicest guy to me. He'd let me screen the rails and do different things in sand, do the finish little sanding on them and stuff. And
when you were still, what, 10, 11, 12 years old?
Yeah, I wasn't even in high school yet. Yeah.
Wow.
And but Ricky James, he wouldn't let me touch them.
Really?
No, don't touch my boards. Then he'd always say, well, how come Rick Irons' side of the room is so clean and you've left all this stuff everywhere for me? I don't know why.
Rick James comes up a lot from almost every board builder I've talked to, from
he worked
Pendleton
for
North.
A lot of guys, yeah. Yeah.
Where does he fit in to the whole board building sphere? Do you see him?
He started long ago. He worked for Greg Knoll for a long time, and he made good friends with Pat O'Hare, and he was shaping boards for Greg Knoll. They both made boards for Greg Knoll and Bing and Dewey, and that's when he went to work for my dad.
Wow.
And he had already cut his thumb off working for Greg Knoll with the bandsaw, and Greg took his thumb and put it in resin. Before he's like, give me my thumb back. He's like, too late.
Tell me this story. I've never heard this.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So for all those years after that, Ricky was shaping, missing his thumb.
No kidding. Where's that thumb?
I think Greg, it's probably somewhere in the Knoll family archives still, because he said he had still had it for a long time.
That's an artifact.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's morbid, but pretty cool.
Yeah, Ricky was a great guy. I'm not sure what he's doing these days, but I think he got into contracting like a lot of surf guys do, because they're crafty already.
Right.
So go do something crafty that you can make a lot of money at. Or surfboards, it's hard to make money, but you just love doing it. So
that transition era board, like that might have been kind of toward the tail end of.
Yeah, I would think this was right there towards the end.
A lot of the premier surfboard builders, when the shortboard revolution thing started getting some steam, they couldn't give away a longboard. So
yeah. For years there, we were still, going to garage sales and buying beautiful longboards for $30 and just go ride them at the beach until they destroyed, but just have fun on it. They were like, oh, they're disposable. Go get another one for $25, $30.
So about how much, if this was say 1969, when did your pop get a fishing boat?
He got it in '69,
Okay.
and he kept the boat for a little bit while he was still making boards, and he would coerce the different guys at the shop to go fishing with him. You know, Bruce Brown got a swordfish boat, and Mark Martinson fished on that one, and you know, he was the world champ just a few years before that. And then Dewey had a swordfish boat, and he was out there getting in everybody's hair. He was
Man.
a character. I fished with Dewey quite a few times, you know, because it takes two people to go sword fishing, so he would talk me into it, and I'd go with him. And
So you've been commercial fishing as your mainstay for how long?
it's real seasonal though, so it's, you know, we're lucky to get maybe 4 months in of doing that, and then it's back to surfboards. But the surfboards, I keep them going year round. Even when I'm fishing, there's time where it's going to be windy for a week, so I can get a lot of boards done.
So this model was the
This is
422.
the 422. It's got the hips in it.
What do you think? 66? When did this one come out? Or before that?
Yeah, probably before that. You know, I think Velzy had something to do with some of the ideas behind it. There's actually two versions of this, and this is the little more recent one that he did. It's more subtle here. The other one is got a
Real aggressive.
yeah.
It's a beautiful outline. This is when they were starting to get a little bit more tail happy, like trying to turn them a little bit more.
Yeah, that was the whole idea. Was everybody still wanted a nose ride, but they wanted to be able to really turn it. So,
can I see the bottom of that one? So we got a little bit of dish concave in the front.
Yeah, this concave, and there's a little subtle concave on the back on the deck.
So this was, if you want to call it that, a high performance.
This was
surfboard
a high performance. You know, probably it was before the Donald Takayama model, which that's what that was all about too. Was high performance. You know, where they started really thinning out the rails. And
so around this time had Donald already come over and started working with Hap and with Bing?
Yeah, he was shaping boards with my dad. Donald was in there, and Lance Garson, and
wow, that's beautiful. Can we see the other? I love the wood wedge.
Yeah,
nose block.
My dad loved those.
Is that where Scott Anderson kind of got that little design?
It could be, you know, because my dad liked these putting the 1/4-inch sticks an 1.25 inches apart, and the fin box fits right between them real nice.
So 1.25 inch spacing on the stringers there.
And the fin box fits in between there and keeps it nice and tight and snug and strong, and it makes a nice spot to put the little nose wedge in.
That's a beautiful outline. You said it's H1?
That's his H1 template. And both of those are hand shaped. So,
who do you think that your dad looked up to as far as design and workmanship?
He always liked Velzy. You know, him and Velzy were friends. They were partners. My grandma didn't like Velzy. My mom didn't really care for him. But, you know, Velzy was a bit of a rebel, but he was a craftsman. And, you know, the two of them, they got along good, and they made good boards together, and they worked together good. So, you know, he always liked him. But
that 12-footer up there is a Velzy Jacobs balsa.
Yeah. I have one at home in Hawaii. It's not that long. But, yeah, when I was in high school, I ripped the glass off of one, and I made a pintail gun out of it. Ruined that one.
What was the name of that little model?
This is a 211.
So it's half of a 422.
Half of a 422. Still has the hips.
Yep, sure enough. You can see it a little more from the bottom, I think.
Yeah.
That sunburst really catches the eye. Oh yeah, that's a really bitchin' little outline.
Yeah, they're really fun little boards.
So the hip kind of falls right in between your front and back foot in the middle of a turn. Is that the idea?
He made a lot of these, and a lot of the surfers he had on the surf team and stuff back in the 2000s and stuff. They only ride longboards, but he'd go try one of these, and everybody really loved them. They're just all around fun board. I'd come over from Hawaii and go fishing, and then if there was a period of time where the weather was crummy, I'd go in and make surfboards with them down there in Hermosa.
So this is hand painted.
Yeah. with a little tiny paintbrush and a medium-sized paintbrush. And
When I say you're paying for time, it's figurative and also literal.
I walk around this like 100 times with a paintbrush.
Yeah, just the little
touching up little
the accents.
Yeah, I've been doing it for a long time, and I'm not trying to, you know, as the Aussies say, busting down the door or anything. But I just like, making classy surfboards and make them nice. And
well, some designs are still around for a reason, and they get referenced from younger shapers making their own spin on the originals. But
yeah,
the originals are more valid today than ever.
well, those are like 64 Impalas,
100%.
and they just walking down the beach with it under your arm, you look good already.
What more do you want than that?
Yeah.
Well, these are beautiful, Kent. Thank you very much for bringing these down.
Well, thanks for having them. I want people to see them.
And good find on that.
Yeah,
that transition era board. That thing's, I've never seen one in that good a shape.
that is in really good shape.
And what a find. Pretty special.
Yeah.